Bull or bear tonight? Well, that's a good spin tonight I got going on here, and it looks like it's a bull. Good evening. What's up, folks? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. I'm taking a look out here. It looks like we got a few the locals out here paddling around. Not that big of a wave, a little knee-high wave going on, and a little bit cooler out there too. Not our 90-degree typical. What is it, like 5 or 6 o'clock? I didn't even look yet. Let me take a look here. 6:41. It's been in the 90s about this time, 6, 7 o'clock, but a little bit cool this evening, 82 degrees. However, we're not over with our our broiler-like temperatures out there. These guys got the right idea. I'd like to see one of them catch a little wave, but don't have time to sit there and wait for that, and there's not much of a wave out there. Again, just a good excuse to get in the water for you surfers, and something to do, I guess. Unfortunately, the more money you make, the more predators and parasites try and get their hands in your pockets. This is a quote by me, and I'm sure it's not original. There's no such thing as original quotes anymore. Billions of people have been born and have died over the last centuries and centuries and centuries. I'm sure nothing is original. In fact, I'm sure there's some guy that looked exactly like me about 1,000 years ago that said this exact same thing. But I'm just kind of figuring that the odds are that that is probably true. Okay, let's get into, well, really, what am I talking about here, though? Unfortunately, the more money you make, the more predators and parasites try to get their hands in your pockets. And a lot of you business folks out there, and a lot of you folks that have tradespeople and people that have worked a long time to get where you're at, to make the type of money that you've got, regardless of the total amount. You worked hard to get it, no matter if it's $10,000, $100,000, $1 million. Okay, most of you have worked really hard to get it. Most of us out there are not predators and we're not parasites, and typically parasites don't make that kind of money. Parasites is a whole different type of creature. They just get enough to survive. Predators, they're a whole different bunch of group. They're out there to purposely steal your blood from you. Parasites just suck enough off, just enough to get by, and that's what you deal with. The more money, especially the more money you make, the more you start to realize this. When you're young, you get your first job and you're paying very little bit in income tax and Social Security. It doesn't seem that bad, but as you get older and older, you start to see how much these predators and parasites really eat into your retirement, eat into. But I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into another cute little. Not a cute little. What am I saying? Cute. There's nothing cute about it. An interesting tidbit about. I'm going to ask you right now. Some of you have probably seen the news on this, but what state is the largest exporter of gold in the United States? And I'll get to that in a few moments. I'm sure some of you are going to pause the video and look for yourself, and good to you. But no less, I'm going to get to that in a few moments, and you're going to be very surprised. But what state is the largest exporter in the United States of gold? It kind of blew my mind. I'm going to talk about that in a few moments as well. Meanwhile, let's get into the definitions here. And you notice I had that up there. What is the definition of a producer? And folks, you meet these people in your lives. You meet them. Unfortunately, sometimes family and friends might fall into the category of parasites, unfortunately. But for the most part, you should take care of your family and friends. It should never get to that level where they are. But there are instances where that does happen. I've been very fortunate in my life that my friends and my family aren't not like that. But I've seen it in the past where people are. But that's, here, parasite right there. An organism that lives and feeds on or in an organism of a different species and cause, well, let's not say a different species. And a parasite can feed on the same species. And here you go. Number 2 kind of nails it pretty good. This is from WordNick. One who habitually takes advantage of the generosity of others without making any useful return. So what I've basically done is I've defined myself 3 basic. I mean, there's many different types of people out there, and there's many different subtleties. Some people cross into both or all 3. But really, I kind of consider 3 distinct types of people out there, which are the producers. They're the people that produce, especially a person, organization that produces goods or services for sale. and a person who supervises and controls the administration, financial, commercial aspects, producers of money, producers of work, and again, trust me, there are companies out there, there are corporations that are parasitic, that are not producers. So my idea of a producer, again, is someone that produces goods or services for sale, not someone that produces a service that is parasitic off producers, or a service that is, besides parasitic, what was the other one? The predatory off producers. And this is what you got. There's a predator right there, an organism that lives by preying on other organisms. This happens in business. This happens in real life, and this is what thieves are. People that steal are predators. I'm going to give you the different types of predators out there. Predators are people that steal, whether it's through legal means or illegal means. And when I say that, the thief that breaks into your house and steals your stuff is a predator. Governments are typically predators when it comes to IRS and taxes. They're predatory in a big way too, because if you don't do what they say, they'll take everything you own away from you, which is even worse than a thief, which is only able to get away with whatever you can carry out your door. Governments and government agencies, they're able to just completely break you to the nth degree, and can be very predatorial. And who else can be? Well, basically, I just described it, thieves and governments. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's true, man. It really is. When you figure, for the most part, the idea of governments are to be small, efficient, and not costing a lot of money to run, and not one of those types of, they shouldn't grow endlessly and require endless amounts of money to keep them running, and they shouldn't employ a large amount of the population. They become predatory, and that's exactly what our founding fathers warned us about. But no less, this video is about gold and silver. I'm going to get to that real quickly. But the whole point of my meme, or not my meme, but my quote here is, unfortunately, the more money you make, the more predators and parasites try and get their hands in your pocket. And that is what gold and silver is about, wealth preservation, because don't you not believe that the Federal Reserve, central banks, worldwide, bankers, Wall Street, they're not on your side, folks. They're predatory. And they're also, I guess you can say, they're parasitic in some way as well. Parasitic meaning that they use the government to, wow. It's funny, too, because you can get a crossover between predators and parasites when it comes to governments, corporations, and crony government corporations and that kind of thing. But and who are crony government corporations? Insurance companies who tried to jam mandatory insurance, not tried to, have basically jammed mandatory health insurance on everybody in this country. That's parasitic. Predatory, well, that's more predatorial. Because, again, they get in bed with government, they force you to do that, and predators force you to do things. Parasites just kind of stick on your body and well, you know what I'm talking about. All right, and again, what does this have to do with gold and silver? This has to do with gold and silver being all about wealth preservation. It's a 5,000-year history of being a safe place to put your money, especially. And I won't say especially, you shouldn't be letting other people hold your gold and silver. I'm not a big fan of depositories, because even the best depository and the most well-intentioned depository in the world could have issues. I mean, issues from government issues from theft, issues from malmanagement, issues from shit. I'm even going to go as far as to say a meteorite just dropping on the entire town that they've got your gold in. What happens then? Are you insured for that? My point is gold and silver has always acted as a great preservation of wealth, and again, having it in your hands is a real important factor. Let's take a look at gold and silver prices, and I'm going to get into that little trivia question I asked you about what the largest exporting state is in gold, and we're going to talk about taxes and 1099's, and a few things I know about the 1099 reporting rule, which has to do with it has to do with gold eagles, and I got it written down on my desk, but it has to do with gold eagles being exempt from filing 1099s when you sell 25 or more, whereas like maple leafs and bars, you're supposed to, not you're supposed to, dealers have to fill out 1099s and send them into the IRS and file a 1099. I'm going to tell you why that 1099 is such bullshit, and tell you how that 1099 IRS rule came into effect. It's kind of an interesting story. I'm going to tell you the guy that caused it too. So let's take a look at spot prices here real quick. Gold 1780.80, up a little bit in the aftermarkets. You know, the New York markets were sideways. Look at this, 1714 to 1728. You know, have we stopped at the 17 level? Are we going to see sub 17? Man, I just don't feel it, but I'm also the same guy that didn't feel sub $1,800 very much. And I'm optimistic. I admit it. I'm optimistic. I'm just optimistic that these fucking crooks and COMEX at the NYMEX and the Globex overnight markets and the LME markets, that these fucking criminals, these mobsters that run these casinos, are going to just like say, hey, we got to stop. You know, the game's up. We're caught. Everyone knows we're doing this. But again, never underestimate these bastards, because that's exactly why we're still sitting at $1,700 gold, $18 silver, and $875 platinum. Is because these bastards manipulate the shit out of these markets. They allow the big commercial shorts to do this. And again, my throat is going to get completely dry if I have to talk about this another time. If you haven't watched my videos at least several times, you may not know what I'm talking about, but more than a few times you know exactly who I'm talking about and how they do it. Ted Butler talks about this as well. I'm not going to get into this tonight. I'm going to talk about taxes, 1099s, how that rule came in, and my interesting trivia question. By the way, all these prices are great, 17, 18, 875. I consider them a gift. And that's the one thing that I agree with the Wall Street silver. Not one thing, I shouldn't say that. It is a primary thing that I agree with the Wall Street silver community, that I like the optimism when they say this just provides me an opportunity to buy the real metal, not the paper bullshit, but the real metal at lower levels. And I have to agree with you 100%. You know, unless you're like 80 or 90 years old and you don't have much time to wait. And I shouldn't say that, but that's true for some people. Some people are elderly. They don't have a lot of time to wait, you know. But then again, you should have secured your wealth a long time ago, and gold and silver and platinum should have been part of that package. And they probably are. That's why you're just sitting here smiling, because you bought it a long time ago. But markets are just very inviting for the spot prices are extremely low, artificially low, no doubt, and we all know this. And premiums are not too bad still. One thing that I can beat the pants off of APMEX, JM, SD, and all these people out there is kilo bars on silver. Good access to that. Still a great price. Don't know how long it's going to last, but it's a special that I'm running right now on kilo bars for all my customers. So buy away, folks. And if you're if you're spending more than if you're buying more than 2,500 ounces, 5,000 ounces of silver, 100 ounces of gold, definitely check out the my company, that's Concierge Bullion Services. Again, I don't talk about it that much. I mostly talk about the brick and mortar commercial rare coins, which is good for ounces below that mark. But no less, I got great prices, and I'll beat all the big boys out there on their prices. And especially the more you buy, the more I can beat those guys. Well, let's take a look at the overnight markets. Man, sometimes these markets just get boring. They're sideways right now. The monkey hammering usually occurs in the well, hold on. 24 hours a day is COMEX, CRIMEX, Globex markets. So price discovery out there is just plain crooked, folks. Take advantage of these low prices while you can. And realize that at some point they're going to lose control of it, just like the LME lost control of nickel. They're going to lose control of these markets pretty big. They may be a little cocky right now, but when it blows up in their faces, these spot prices are just going to go crazy. But again, where are these spot prices going to be determined at? Man, we just got to find a different place for price discovery. Maybe there's another market out there. Maybe Asian markets, maybe Russian markets, maybe. Well, I don't know. Who's not crooked? But no less, good place to be, gold and silver market, because all those paper markets are rigged as well. I'm sure stock markets are rigged, equity markets are rigged, bond markets are rigged. There's no doubt in my mind. Gold and silver markets are so tiny. We know they're rigged, but the other markets are just as rigged. So where do you put your money? And as I always say, if you don't play, you can't win. All right, let's get into my trivia question because I'm just bored talking about these sideways movements, and I'm bored talking about these lower movements. We're waiting for the big movements out there, and it ain't happened yet. Keyword being yet. Let's take a look at. Oh, hey. All right, I just gave it away. Asian demand turns Massachusetts into. Well, maybe I surprised you if you saw this before I said anything, but Asian demand turns Massachusetts into major gold exporter. This surprised the hell out of me. I saw an article on ZH that showed all the major exports of all the different states. And when I saw Massachusetts, the tiny little state it is up in the corner, it said gold. I said, what the F? Immediately I started looking. Are there major gold mines in Massachusetts? No, not at all. Massachusetts is not known for any, I mean, maybe a couple few gold mines, but nothing of any significance whatsoever. So where does Massachusetts get this gold for export? Well, guess what? It happens to be the very company that I do business with, Metalore. In a state devoid of gold mines, I'm going to read this in brief, but Massachusetts exported nearly $2 billion in gold last year to places such as the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Hong Kong, according to wisertrade.org. And these were not paper transactions, but 62,500 pounds of glittery metal gold, roughly the weight of a herd of more than 24 rhinoceroses. I guess this writer went a little bit overboard, but who wrote this? The Boston Globe, of course. But, they're quoting facts. $2 billion exports out of Massachusetts. Who would have freaking thought for gold? Isn't that pretty cool? I told you we'd all learn something new together every time, and I do all the time, and I like sharing this stuff with you as well. Northeastern University economics professor Alan Clayton Matthews is clueless. I'd like to know, but I don't. But that's pretty typical of economic professors. That's why they teach. If you can't do, you teach. I mean, maybe that's an insult to some teachers out there that really like what they're doing, but I've always heard that myself. Unless they're just retired, wealthy people that just want to teach people. But as it turns out, much of the gold leaving the state appears to be just passing through. In 2014, Massachusetts was not only the nation's largest gold exporter, but it also the fourth largest importer, accepting about $1.5 billion from countries as Canada, Colombia, and Mexico. And guess who the middleman is? And like I said, is the Swiss refinery Metalore, who would not return calls, and I can't blame them at all. Because, they don't want people knowing that there's $2 billion of gold going through Massachusetts. You know how many crooks are in Massachusetts in the Northeast? I mean, listen, I know that state. I have family in that state. So, the big heist occur up in those states, in the northeastern states. So I can't blame the state of Massachusetts wanting to keep that kind of on the low about the... God, I love the views in Lauderdale by the Sea, but on the low about Metalore, because again, high security risk. Artigas had a good reason to be careful. Again, this is more the Boston Globe getting into drama about the $5 million stolen from a truck headed from Miami to Boston. That was probably a Metalore delivery, actually, if you think about it. The FBI said the truck driver pulled over, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. That's why they don't talk about it. But who would have ever thought that Metalore, and again, Metalore, a lot of people don't know Metalore. I got an account with them. I'm probably their very smallest account. The first account they would delete if they had to get rid of somebody. But no less, I have and they're a great freaking company. By the way, couldn't recommend Metalore more. If you ever see gold or silver bars made by Metalore, trust me, they're just as good as the Swiss bars. They're just as good as all the other bars. Metalore is a wonderful company. In fact, international, Japan, Europe, all over the world, parts of Asia, United States. Metalore suppliers include mining companies, banks, dealers, recyclers, and that would be me, dealers, recyclers, an industry producing precious metal waste as well. They are the big boys, says Mr. Nyborn. I think he's out of the Palm Beach area. Never met him, but shipped about $1 billion in gold to Hong Kong. $1 billion. And think about that too, folks. Where is this gold from the United States? And some of it being brought in from Canada and South America. It's going to at least $1 billion of it. Half of it is going to Asia, and that kind of tells you about the vacuum cleaner that's sucking the wealth out of America. And I don't blame the Asian countries for doing this. I just think the Asian countries are much smarter than Americans, because if Americans were smart, they'd be stacking up on physical gold and silver. It would be reversed. We'd be sucking it away from other countries because of demand, because our people actually understood about wealth preservation. But folks, if you're listening to my video, you're probably a 1 or 2% of the people out there that understand what wealth preservation really means, and that money, dollars, fiat currency is not what you know, it's not solid. It loses its value all the time. And well, all right, I don't need to go there. Good article here, by the way. I recommend that you read it. And there are other sections we think are more telling about how well Massachusetts companies are trading with Europe and Asia. But gold is one of the largest categories out of there. Good article. Again, it's on gat.org. I think ZH also did a thing about what states export. And it surprised the crap out of me. Okay, I'm going to get into 1099's. I'm going to take a sip here real quick because my, by the way, it's a wine report, not a coffee report, as you can tell by the timestamp on here. Timestamps. One sec. Okay. My gosh, I love the view in Lauderdale by the Sea. Beautiful sunsets, even and other things. But no less, let me get into 1099's and taxes, all right? There is a law out there that says that if you are, again, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but if you're selling gold, that Eagles are exempt from 1099 reporting if you sell more than 25 ounces. And a lot of you that are a little more savvy think about that and say, well, you know, what makes the difference here? Why would they exempt maple, or why would they say you have to do it on maples? You have to, gold is gold. Think about this, all right? So why would you have to report on a 1099 gold eagles, but not, or not gold eagles, but maple leafs and gold bars and Krugerrands and some other products, and not have to report American eagles, all right? And it's a good, valid question because it's just stupid. Think about it. So American Eagles are exempt from 1099 reportings, but these other products aren't. Where does that come from? Where does that actually come from? Who thought of this stupid shit? Who thought of a law that is kind of stupid? Because all it does is encourage people to buy American, the American Eagles, and then they don't have to report on 1099s. Meanwhile, other people, gold is gold. So who gives a shit what form it's in? If you're going to make a law that says you have to file a 1099 on gold, it should be on all gold or none at all, not just one particular product like it is with Gold Eagles. And I'm going to show you where and how this little 1099 rule came up. Let me show you this gentleman right here. And oh, no, that's not that gentleman. Let me show you this gentleman right here. His name is Emery M. Robinson. He was really a fine guy from my dad's generation of precious metal and gold dealers. He had a shop called Edgewood Coin Shop in Jacksonville, Florida. Again, Emery was a great guy. Everybody liked Emery. Old-time coin dealer and old-time bullion dealer. Did a lot of business out of that Jacksonville store. And I'll show you his obituary right here. There he is, always remembering with that smile on his face and always shaking hands with people. He owned and ran the Murray Hill Theater. I didn't know that for 20 years, but he also founded and operated the Edgewood Coin Shop for the last 55 years. And I'm going to tell you, Emery is where the 1099s came from. The 1099 filing came from. And I'm going to tell you the story here as quick as I can. And let me take another sip of wine here in one sec. Emery Robinson, who is obviously deceased since then, but again, great guy, had Edgewood Coin up in Jacksonville. Emery gets a notice of audit from the IRS. And Emery's an upright guy, like me and a lot of other people out there. Emery's a really straight up guy, but again, old school, kind of like my father a little bit as far as being outspoken and a tough guy, I think, but when he needed to be. So Emery gets an audit, and I don't remember what year this is. I could probably find out from my father and ask, but I'm going to suspect that it was probably in the 90s or something like that. I don't know when exactly they enacted that 1099 rule, which exempts American Eagles, but you got to fill out 1099 for everything else. But Emery got this tax audit, and he gets this young auditor, and this is the story that I get. And the young auditor goes through all Emery stuff, and Emery does everything he can to make this. He lets the guy do the audit at Emery's store, and from what I hear, Emery puts him in this small little room and turns the heat on in Florida. Or doesn't turn the air conditioner, just makes the guy as uncomfortable as he can. That may be just rumor, not true, but I'd like Emery even more if he did do that. But again, Emery pushed this young guy. This young guy comes up, doesn't find anything wrong with Emery at Edgewaters. Again, if anybody knows Emery real well, knows the story better than I do, better than my father did and others did, let me know in the comment section below. But Emery just made this young IRS agent as uncomfortable as possible, because Emery knew it was bullshit. He knew they were just fucking with them, and they probably were. So this young IRS agent finds nothing from Emery's audit, pretty much, except he goes and he finds some obscure accounting or obscure broker reporting law, and that's what they call that 1099, broker reporting law. Here's where it gets interesting. The broker reporting law was a law that IRS had on their books for quite some time, and it was about the COMEX exchange. And when you would express delivery in COMEX could pay you in, I'm going to say, Mexican 50 pesos, and these other products, Krugerrands and other gold bars come to mind for sure. And you had to file a 1099. COMEX CME Group had to file a 1099 as a broker to the customer requesting physical demand for those products. It was a rule that had to do with commodities. It was a rule that had to do with commodity brokers. This young IRS agent just arbitrarily took this rule and said that it applied to coin dealers and precious metal dealers, all right? Right out of the blue, and said that. Well, Emery was kind of struck by that, and they were trying to hit him for $5,000 per infraction, I think, at the time, and it added up to quite a bit. I think Emery kind of contested, because that's what Emery probably would have told the IRS guy to go fuck himself, like I feel like I would. But sometimes you got to worry about these predators and these parasites out there, because they can make your life miserable, especially if they got a government badge, all right? No matter how honest you think you're doing things, they can still fuck with you and take everything you got. I'm aware of this. I hope you are as well. But Emery was probably aware of this as well, and realized that it could be an ongoing battle in tax IRS courts, because remember, IRS courts are not like criminal courts. IRS courts are places where you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent to a IRS judge, all right? And this is not, I don't make this shit up, all right, unless you've been through it. I've been pretty lucky, but again, I keep my books fucking perfect. Hopefully I don't get a prick IRS agent like that one day, like Emery did. But anyway, Emery gets this. He says, you know what, I'll settle. He settles, but what happens is it kind of sets a precedent that now all of a sudden coin dealers and precious metal dealers need to file 1099s on any customers that sell 25 or more non-approved American Eagle products. Again, totally bullshit law made up by some young IRS agent just out to fuck Emery because Emery pissed him off. And and this is the truth. I'm not sugarcoating anything here. So anyways, we have an organization called ICTA, International Council of Tangible Assets. It's actually was run by Diane Perret at the time. I really liked Diane a lot, good friend of mine, but Diane really wasn't the person to put in control of that. She was out of her league. They should have contested it. The lobby that we have in the industry, the precious metal industry and the coin industry, the ICTA, at the time under Diane's guidance, and again, she's a great lady, just out of her league at the time, should have contested that, because again, think about it, it was just some bullshit IRS regulation for brokers, commodity brokers, not for coin dealers and precious metal dealers, but for commodity brokers, okay? It's some bullshit regulation that they made up, and Emery just decided not to fight it. And you know what? It was brought to the attention to ICTA, and overall, Diane not being able to fight it like she was, and nobody willing to take the time to fight it and put the money into it, despite the lip service that they gave, how concerned they were about this stuff. I also believe they felt that it might knock out smaller deals that wouldn't do these 1099s, which it may have done. But no less, there's where that 1099 law came from. Emery Robinson, and Emery, if you're listening, nothing, listen, you did the right thing. You can't fight City Hall sometimes, but I wanted to tell you the story on how this came about and how the sorry about that. There's Emery right there, Edgewood Coin Shop, and there's the business, Edgewood Coin Shop, Jacksonville, Florida. He used to be at 936 Edgewood Ave, South Jacksonville. And then, again, Emery was a great arrest records. Oh, that's bullshit. That's not from Emery. I hate it when they do that too. But anyways, Robinson, Cointown, I don't think that's it. Emery Robinson, but Emery is a guy that really, where that 1099 bullshit broker regulation came from. And I tell you what, I'm saying with the utmost confidence that if someone had the money and they had any issues with that bullshit broker law, they could go back through the records and find out it was just an obscure commodity broker law that didn't apply to coin dealers and precious metal dealers, that this kid just arbitrarily applied to them and then was set in stone because of the nonsense of our lobbying group that kind of acknowledged it was okay, and then got dealers submitting 1099s because of it. They set a precedent, but meanwhile, it's a bullshit law. And the other thing too is, anyone that knows the 1099 rule and that, well, yeah, I can't sell more than, if I sell 25 gold bars or more, I've got to fill a 1099. All the customers that buy this stuff, they recognize that they just go in and sell 23. They're below the number 20. Now, I'm not advising them to do that, but I'm saying that, anyone that buys bars nowadays is aware that there's a 1099 to be filled out if you sell more than 25 bars or 25 of the particular products on that bullshit brokery. And again, I got copies of it on my desk downstairs, but and nobody's actually selling us anything nowadays. Everyone's buying from us. But it's a bullshit broker reporting law. It's a bullshit law because it was brought up for bullshit reasons. And again, I got history on this stuff. I got facts. I know about this stuff. And I figured I'd share it with you guys as well. Well, I think that's it. I think I shared some pretty cool stuff with you. And Emery, I don't know if there's an afterlife, but there is, and you're listening. You're a great dude, man. And I hope you're dealing in gold and silver and helping people stack in wherever you are. Well, let's get into what the best deals out there, folks. Nothing's changed. The best deals are at Commercial Rare Coins and sorry about the Concierge Bullion Services, which is me. Really, those are my businesses. I'm sorry, I got to plug them, but I'll beat any of the guys out there. Not any of the guys out there, but I'll beat the biggies, Atmex, SDJM, and I'll even beat Miles Franklin's prices. Now, I'm putting it out there, and I'm being a bit competitive, but you know what? He sells big deals, and I sell big deals as well. I should start announcing this stuff, and again, promoting my business a little bit more, and other guys that do large sales as well. So I'm happy to beat the sellers that sell one piece. I'm happy to beat the guys that sell 10,000 pieces of gold or whatever the hell you want to buy. I'm a good guy to see. I'm here in South Florida, and if you got any questions, call me. Well, we'll get into that in a moment, where to call me. Meanwhile, maybe I should perhaps, I'll get into that to the end here. I'll do my little spiel, and I'll make it real quick for you since I already started. But my video yesterday was about are gold and silver eagles a bad deal? Of course they are. Overpriced, too high of a premium, not worth it. In fact, we had a customer come in this week that ordered 1,000 ounces of silver, which is, we do that all the time, not a big deal. 1,000 ounces of silver, and he wanted to buy silver eagles. He hadn't been in a long time. I said, man, if you buy silver, I tell you what, I can save you probably 16, hold on, what is it, 8,000, I'm sorry, about $8,000 on buying bars as opposed to silver eagles on that same amount. And 8,000, he was like surprised. And again, the best deals out there are bars right now, especially in the generic forms. Far better deal than Silver Eagles, far better deal than 90% and some other products that are just premium, which you're just crazy on. Again, advertised to beat those guys. So, yeah, get rid of them Silver Eagles and trade them in because there's still a good premium on them right now, and you can buy yourself more silver by doing that. Well, Celeste, what a confiscation figure is not even 1099 reportings for 25 coins or less. You nailed it. Exactly what I was just talking about. Thanks for commenting. Appreciate it. Conspiracy beats take time. I better take a sip of water. I'm kind of mumbling here now. Quite often. AJ, I'm being spammed to death. Yeah, every YouTuber is out there getting spammed to death. Thanks, Kim, for bringing that up. Glad you enjoyed the drinks and the language. I kept it pretty minimal tonight, but last night was really a big F night. Hey, listen, sometimes you just throw them out there. Hager, the holder, says Holter does promote. I don't even know who Holter is, but I guess he was part of that big deal. Pre-33 gold and use mint products to protect against confiscation. I'm telling you, Mr. Holter is well-intentioned, as good a guy that he probably is. He's just absolutely fucking incorrect on the confiscation of precious metals. Like other people out there, talking heads that talk about pre-33 gold. They're absolutely incorrect. I would love to have a one-on-one debate with them. Civil, not, oh, you jerk, you know what I mean? Not the typical debates that you see now, not the Jerry Springer shit, but a real civil debate. I'd love to talk to him about that, and I'm sure I could even flip his mind on that. So that's how confident I am. Thank you, Hager. Appreciate you commenting. Nice to see you out there. Jimmy says, oh, yeah, someone in the comments are advertising porn and Sheckman. Porn and Sheckman, no, I'm just kidding. Advertising porn. And and Sheckman has a video out with details about 25 million. Yeah, I know. A lot of people have been talking about the Sheckman video. Again, man, by the time I get done buying and selling gold and silver and rare coins and precious metals and jewelry and artwork and all the shit I do every day and running the three businesses that I run, actually I have a fourth business. I actually own a collision and auto body shop. I'm partners with that, but we'll get into that another time. I like race cars too. I got a lot in today, didn't you? Learning more about me. So anyway, 33 gold, no, it's bullshit. I'm telling you, the argument about buying pre-33 gold and U.S. Gold and silver coins is bullshit. I love those products, but again, the idea that they're going to be confiscated, laughable in my opinion. Western suburban Denver, it was 56 degrees. Man, I like a nice 56. I mean, freaking 90 every day. This is why I'll go up every once in a while and visit the Great White North. No, it's really like North Carolina and Tennessee for me is the Great White North. So you don't get that cold there, but it's nice to get away from town once in a while. Mayor Pride, thank you for commenting. What's a conspiracy theory? Absolutely. Living the dream. Blackie, good for you, man. Pretty cool. The Scorch says, well, being in a woke friction, how cool your dyed hair looks. I haven't had to dye my hair yet, and I still think I look pretty cool. Oh my God, sorry about the phone there. God, and it's that Async company. They keep telling me that my car warranty is out of expiration. What a bunch of jerks. ASYNC. Their phone number is 352-594-5252. If you get bored and you want to screw with someone, there you go. Wallace says, good job, Brian. I would be more interested in hearing a guilty verdict brought against those low-life spoofers. Me as well, Wallace. Gary Biggs, what do ASE AGs offer generic being produced by units that are covered by counterfeit laws? No, incorrect there, sir. Again, Gary, not trying, God, I didn't want to sound like a jerk, but, there is the Hobby Protection Act, which says that coins, tokens, metals, numismatics, foreign coins can't be misrepresented for what they are. And again, counterfeiting laws are a little bit different. Maybe U.S. counterfeiting laws are a felony, but counterfeiting laws under the 1963, I think it's 1963 Hobby Protection Act, are also a felony. Look that up for me, Gary. I think you'll find it interesting as well. The U.S. government has some draconian, and the U.S. government is nothing but draconian, man. The 30s when PM is common currency held. Gosh, you guys, I love your comments out there, and I love it when I see you guys kind of talking with each other a little bit more. Let me see. He'd go broke. Michael Matthews says, Brian, Brian needs a swear jar. Should have read that first. Every time he drops an American Silver, then he gives constant ways to a lucky subscriber at the end of the week. Ooh, ooh. Gosh, but you know what? I'm so cheap, I definitely would curb my F words, and then it wouldn't be quite the show it is, right? I guess. What do you know about the Duke of Fremont? I heard of that guy. The Duke of Fremont. I've seen him. He wears this big hat. I have no clue what he does. Is he a coin guy? Is he a silver guy? I'll have to look it up now that you mentioned it. Thanks, JD. Sub, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys subbing. By the way, if you're not, please subscribe to my channel. Keeps it up in your face. And it also helps my channel grow a little bit and helps my business grow, which I appreciate greatly. I really do. Going back to 410s next week instead of 5/8. Shorten up your hours. Hey, man, guess what? I think I hired a good coin guy 3 days a week. Got this new lady working for me, too, that's super smart, sells precious metals as well. I think she's going to be good at it. I'm going to have some more free time myself. I can't wait to get out of here a little bit more. You know, the last 2 or 3 years has been really tough, man. I've lost employees. I've lost help. It's been hard to get good help. And I've been spending more time working than well, I'm not complaining. These are first world problems. What the hell? Sorry about that, folks. I am blunt with my words. LL, you starting to sound like my firecracker wife. As long as I not start looking like your wife, I'm cool with that. Love you. Listen, she's probably beautiful, but that's not my style of being beautiful. Love the honesty. If they can't handle it, they can move on. Government can try to take my... Nah. They can pry my gold and silver out of my cold, dead friggin' hands. How do you like that, Clust? I agree with you 100%. Same thing with my guns. Rusty says Silver Eagles are definitely a bad deal. Gold Eagles are currently okay. Nah, Gold Eagles are 160 over. Gold bars are $80 over. Far better deal in gold bars there, Rusty. John, what's up? My mouth is too filthy. Found your channel while searching silver, but not again. Mouth is too filthy. Well, John, there's a talking head for every ass out there. So... why don't you find a good talking head for your ass? And thanks for watching anyway. Hey, listen, everybody has their own styles. And again, that's the beauty of being able to switch channels. Thanks, John. Have yourself a good evening. I really don't like that you did, you call where? Linda, I hope I didn't disappoint you. I live ICS winners. We have 4 seasons. I don't really like that. You lost me on that one. What's an ICS? Is that local coin? No, I don't know. Oh, Linda, I don't know these little abbreviations, and if I insulted you, I'm sorry. Really, next time you're down here, I'll give you a great deal, or when you do come down. I'd do that anyway. Thanks, Linda. Sorry about that. Wharton says, any entity that artificially injects large sum of blah, 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 but you sound like me. Blah, 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 blah. It's not a free drive to money lobby stacked. Thanks. God, you guys are just smart, man. I use the F word as used strategically. Hits like artillery that way. Good direction, my friend. You are dictation. I'm sorry, my friend. You are approachable. So are you, Wharton. I like you already, man. And great minds always think alike. That's why all my viewers, we're all great minds. A small percentage of the people out there. We are the producers. We are not the parasites. We are not the predators. We're the producers, folks. And there's not a lot of us left out there. Don't think it's about confiscation, but more about reporting, selling for tax purposes. You can sell eagles without reporting to IRS. Not true, Jeff Keller. You have to. I forgot to mention that. The 1099's are where the dealer reports you, where the dealer is like the snitch. Yeah, this guy sold 26 gold bars. All right, that's exactly what the 1099 broker reporting law is. Some bullshit law that really doesn't do crap, because if you buy gold eagles, then you don't have to report any fucking thing, and it's just as easy to avoid reporting anything. So it's bullshit, but the thing is, whether it's reported or not, you are required, gold eagles, gold bars, whatever it is, you are required, with or without that report, to pay capital gains on your gold and silver. Eagles, too. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And if they do, they're full of shit. They don't know what they're talking about. And how will the IRS know about you selling more than 25 gold eagles, even though you didn't get a 1099? You're going to get a check for it. It's going to go into your bank account. They're going to ask you what that check is for, all right? And you're going to say, oh, it's for eagles. Oh, did you pay tax on it? No. And then you're going to get screwed, all right? So that's the truth. Laurie says, and thanks for watching, Jeff. Wasn't trying to be snarky there. Just trying to give you the truth here. You got to be careful who you listen to. It's a real thing. The visionary charge when you put silver at the bottom tip. Explain more, Lori. I want to hear more about that. Matthew, what's up? Tony A. U.S. coin, that's not true. I've heard people trying to cross the border with gold eagles and getting busted and having to have big deals with that. So, yeah, maybe you might get some dumbass to kind of let you across the border with $50 gold eagles stated at their $50 value, but very unlikely. Chances are you're going to get the shit taken away from you. Eagles were overpriced and no buyers, so she did everyone a favor in the rigging war. That's perhaps true. How many years do we have to realize Fed can never be normalized? Intervention with a crashing market. That's true too. That's a whole different thing. You're talking exactly about what Peter Schiff talks about, and I got to agree with you 100%, Rich. Buck Williams says Andy Scheckman was on Economic Ninja explaining the details of the big deal. That's awesome. And again, hats off to Andy Scheckman for being part of that major, very cool, big private deal. Professional jealousy from me? Abso-fucking-lutely. But Andy, great job, dude. And whoever else put that together. You know, again, I have my little questions and issues and things I wouldn't have done, but I'm a loud smoking and a loud-spoken guy. Well, that's it, folks. I'm calling it quits. This is Brian Kuzmar, and I'm asking you to think for yourself and question authority, and there's no way you can do that without first questioning your own narrative and your own opinion. Where did you get it from? Because it may not be true. Did you get it from school? Did you get it from mainstream media? Did you get it from your parents? Again, always question what you know, because you really can't question others until you've gotten your own narrative and opinion straight. And that's the best I can say with that. And if you're looking for precious metals and you're spending over, if you're buying over 2,500 ounces of silver and over 100 ounces of gold, please call us at Concierge Bullion. We can hook you up. No matter where you live, we can probably hook you up here. There's our website, again, Concierge Bullion Services. Still building this site. I've had it up for a few months, just haven't had time to really advertise it. That's why I'm doing it now. And if you live in South Florida, this is our brick and mortar store right here. And again, we got the great prices here. You can still buy large deals and small deals at this place right here. The only thing is we only deal locally here, and we're open 10 to 4 Mondays through Fridays. So feel free to call us anytime between those hours. We've been in the same location since 1995. And folks, I think I'm going to call it, because I haven't eaten anything but a couple an apple and some cheese today, and I'm on like a third of a glass of wine here, so man, I'm hungry. Have a great evening. Talk to you tomorrow, and that's it. Good night.